Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of the Here I Am podcast. I am your humble host, Anjay, also known as a dork who lives on the TikToks and Instagrams. And I have here with me one of the most badass, fantabulous, heartwarming person I have ever had the pleasure of meeting through TikTok. You can follow her. Her screen name is J Jones 451 on the TikTok and Baby J 451, correct, on the Instagram.
That is correct.
Nailed it. Miss Jordan Jones. Hi, Jordan. What's going on?
Nothing much. Just living the dream. How are you?
Same. There is a. I'm living the dream, except I have Freddy Krueger here. So, yeah.
Basically.
Okay, so Jordan, you were born. Then what happened?
I was born into the world without any consent, and then I'm just here floating on a rock in space. Basically, I have to pay my own bills and feed myself and have a job, and I didn't ask for any of this.
Fuckers. I was literally trying. You told me if you what? So before we started recording here, Jordan said, "If you don't make this awkward, I'm gonna be upset." And so I was like, "Okay, first question. I'm gonna see if I can make it awkward." And she handled it like a champ. So, fuck. Uh,
Conversation, I'm going to be upset at you and for everyone that listens to this podcast.
well, you do have 1.5 million followers on TikTok, and so I'm pretty sure you would take this podcast of mine down really easily. So I'm gonna. I don't know what that was, but I don't care. I'm gonna roll with it. Um, Speaking of, so on your TikTok, and I don't, for those of you who aren't following, please do. She's literally is like fucking phenomenal. You have this authenticity about yourself, and you're really open and honest, and it's a really refreshing thing to see. And my question for you is, what made you feel free enough to do that?
Well, I guess I started TikTok after a really bad breakup. My sister Alicia convinced me to start posting videos because I was just an avid watcher, like many. And I started doing, like no one knows what the hell they're doing when you start TikTok. Like, do you do comedy? Do you do transition? Like, what do you do? And to be completely honest, I just got really drunk one night and I was like, yeah, let's post our feelings on TikTok. And I did, and it blew up and I was like, holy shit, people actually feel the same way that I do. And so it's kind of like, I don't know, people, I guarantee you there are people out there that would argue with you that I'm not authentic or I'm not who I am on the internet in real life. You'll get that anywhere. But it was just kind of seeing people actually relating to what I was going through and how I was feeling. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not alone. This is pretty damn cool. Like people are actually
Yeah.
this and they're feeling the exact same way. Like, holy shit, this is awesome. And it just kind of went from there.
Well, that's really cool that you went down that route first. I'll admit my very first TikTok, I was also drunk when I made it, so it was like I guess for anybody who wants to gather any kind of following, if you're 21 and over, because we don't condone underage drinking,
Absolutely
uh,
not.
apparent and if you don't have an alcohol problem, I guess the the solution is just get a little tipsy, make a TikTok, you'll probably go viral. It'll be fine.
Yeah, just don't live stream or you'll get banned. And I can actually say that because this is not TikTok, so I can say it without being censored.
Oh, actually, I am censoring you on this. I'm gonna have to edit that out and never post it. No, I'm just kidding. The
So
look on your face. Oh my God, the look on your face right now. You just went, you fucker. What are you?
that's what was actually running through my head was, oh, this fucker.
I mean, clearly, it's usually when people see my face, that's what happens. Uh, I remember the first time I ever interacted with you was I did a video about a Harry Potter coloring book
Hmm.
with and it was for anybody who's wondering what the video was, it's in this Harry Potter coloring book. They have a picture of trolls dressed in tutus. And for those of you who think I don't know what it is, it's the tapestry hanging across from the room of requirement when Barnabas the Barnaby tried to teach the trolls ballet and they ended up killing him. I knew what that was. The the confusing part was it's a coloring book meant for kids, but they had trolls with like nipple piercings, and that just confused the shit out of me. And Jordan duetted the video, and I was like, and then I remember I looked at her page and I went, this bitch has like 700,000 fucking followers and she saw my shit. What the fuck is going on? And then you and I bonded through Harry Potter and then like mental health stuff. I mean, I think it's really beautiful how much you care about people who follow and you interact and try to interact with you. And I just want that's just a random compliment I'm throwing your way. I think it's beautiful what you're doing, and I think you're a beautiful person. Um,
Don't make me cry. I'll come
my
through
fuck,
that.
it's my show, bitch. I do what I want.
I said awkward. Come on now.
Crying can get awkward for people. So I mean, I'm trying to do what you asked me, Jordan. What the hell? Um, but one of the things that stuck out to me that I always really wanted to talk to you about was you had an incident where you were very suicidal
Mm.
and you tried going to the hospital to get help and they denied you. So first part of this question is going to be, how hard was it for you to even ask for the help?
Um, I had been going through my worst bout of depression for about a year and a half. At that point, um, I was using alcohol as a crutch. I was drinking, I mean, a lot, to the point where I probably would have been, if I went to a doctor, they would have probably told me I had a drinking problem, and I needed to go to rehab. Um, it wasn't as hard as you would think because I was drunk and I was just sobbing and I didn't know what to do. So I called my mom at 2:30 in the morning. And, of course, I'm like, hey, I would like to not live anymore. And she was here in 20 minutes and it's about a 40-minute drive.
Damn.
So I didn't really have a choice. When I made that phone call, she kind of made the choice for me.
Mm,
We're going to get help. We're taking you to the hospital. Like, fuck your feelings. This is what we're doing.
yeah.
So, I didn't really ask for help. I just called my mom to talk to her, and she kind of thrusted the help upon me.
Well, I mean, but to even be able to have like that kind of relationship with your mom, to be able to like talk to them like that. Like I know for me growing up, I never like between my parents, I had the better relationship with my mom, but I never talked about my feelings that much because I never felt like I could to really, so like that's just like a beautiful thing that she was able um to do that for you. I know like her mom instincts went like, nah, fuck this. I'm gonna
Well,
help my baby right now.
her dad killed himself when she was 16.
Oh, wow. So it's even next level there. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like one of those things. My dad's not a very emotional person. He's not very empathetic. He's like, we don't really hug. He doesn't do the I love yous. He shows his love in different ways. But my mom has always instilled in us to be very open. She struggles from, my sister struggles from depression, anxiety.
Hmm.
Um, sorry, I've been getting spam calls so much, but so it runs in my mom's side of the family. So she's always instilled in us like it's okay to talk about your feelings. And I remember that night, she came home because she had to stay with me that night, and she came home to my dad with just like printouts. And she was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, if she's gonna have depression like this and be suicidal, I need to know what I'm up against." Which like he he would have never told me he did that, but she did. But because her dad killed himself, and the last thing she said to him was, "I hate you."
Mm.
She's a little more sensitive to it, and I kind of feel like a jerk for feeling like that sometimes, which I shouldn't. I mean, it happens, but I feel kind of like a jerk sometimes for calling her like that.
In all honesty, the way I'm hearing it is, I don't think I think you did the right, I think you absolutely did the right thing too for that. And I honestly think, let's say you didn't call your mom and you weren't here today, she
Yeah.
probably would have been more pissed off at you for not making that call, because if anything, she would want to be there for you. And like I can understand why, like, her last words being to her father were like, I hate you. My last words to my father were, I'm disappointed in you. And so that type of shit sticks with you for like
Yeah.
a really long time. And I'm sure, and I don't know because I've never met your mother, but I heard there's a good TV show about how to meet your mother, so maybe I should check that out one day.
Yeah.
um,
Stanley would like to say hello.
oh yeah, of course.
I mean,
Always love the puppy. Hi, Stanley. Oh, we
hi.
always love a puppy appearance. Oh, he's a good boy.
You just barged right in here.
He's like, Mom, I've been going around this house looking for attention. Where the
Yeah,
fuck is it?
because
Um,
with puppy, it's just like,
yeah. No, it's
Stanley's,
no, it's true.
but it's not the same. It's not the same.
I'm sure. But yeah, and so like I was saying, like I'm sure like when your mom said that, I don't really think she hated your dad. She's probably saying that type of shit out of frustration. That's what I was saying to my dad.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like they know it's not that necessarily. And I don't know. There's a lot more deep thoughts to that. But so going to when you got to the hospital and they just kind of went, sorry, you're SOL, like we can't help you. Like, what was that like?
So I get there and my mom comes in with me and we walk up to the counter in the emergency room and they're like, "Hi, what can we do for you?" And I was like, "I would like to kill myself." And I said it very nonchalantly and the lady just kind of looked at me. Cuz what do you do when someone just nonchalantly says that? And she was like, "Okay." We waited for about 20 minutes in the waiting room. We finally get back to the room. They took my phone, they took my clothes, they took everything. And so I'm sitting there and I sat in there for probably an hour and a half until someone finally came in and they asked me a series of questions, you know, how would you do it? Where would you do it? When would you do it? What would you do it with? Like just repeating the same questions over and over. And I'm answering them honestly. And she goes out, comes back in about 20 minutes later, and she's like, "Yeah, so the thing is, we don't really have the bedroom. We don't think you're a danger to yourself, so we're sending you home." And to my knowledge, they're supposed to help you find another location that would have bed space or refer you somewhere. My mom lost her shit, absolutely lost her shit, told them that if I go home and kill myself, she is going to own this hospital, which I mean, wouldn't have been wouldn't have been a bad payout minus me not being here. But so she stayed with me overnight and then I went and I stayed with them for about a week, but it was so frustrating. Like this is why people don't ask for help, because when they do reach out for help, finally they're like, "Okay, I legitimately need help." This is the kind of shit that happens. People basically
Yeah.
saying, "You're fine. Go to the gym, spend time outside." Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's always like the like any therapist will tell you that yes, there is like a huge there's a benefit of like exercising and getting outdoors and yada yada yada, but they're not going to be like, that's it, that's the only tool, that's the only resource that you can do, like that's the only thing.
That's
Um
you.
yeah, and it's just like, all right, cool, like that's what's happening. Um yeah, it's just like super, it's just like frustrating because you're like, no, like I remember like I posted, videos where I'm just like expressing my emotions and shit like that, and dudes would be like, bro, you should just go to the gym, and I'd be like, bro, I lift more than you. Like I fucking go to the gym. I'm like, I guarantee you I'm stronger than you are. And that like it's something more. It takes a lot of healing, and for a lot of people, like it's hard to do it on their own, and they need therapy. And I'm assuming like outside once that set of events happened, that's when you started seeing a therapist.
I didn't start seeing a therapist until about 6 months after that happened. Um, I, for some reason, needed that time to, I thought after it happened, I was like, oh, I was just drunk. No big
Mm,
deal. I'll get past it. And then, like, it just kept getting worse. And so it took me about 6 months to finally say, like, I need help. So I went to a therapist, and then my diagnosis, I have BPD. I have borderline personality disorder, which, along with depression and anxiety, which completely changes, my PCP was prescribing me just regular antidepressants, and that's not what you need. So she recommended me to a psychiatrist. And then after I had therapy and the psychiatry, and things in life started going a little bit better, like everything just kind of fell into a better place. You know what I mean?
hmm
But
Yeah.
it forever.
Yeah, I think that's, the fact that you're able to like to a find a therapist that is a good fit, because I know for a lot of people that can be like a struggle. Like they go to a therapist and they're like, I'm just doing it because I was told I was supposed to. I don't really feel like I'm getting better. And it's like, well, it could be, or like I don't feel like I'm being listened to. I don't feel like I'm being heard. And then that can be like that thing. Oh, puppy number two appearance. Hi. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Hello.
I don't know where he came from. I think Michael's in the bathroom and he followed him upstairs.
Probably what it is. um,
Mass chaos in this house constantly.
gotta love it. But yeah, it's just kind of like one of those things where, it's a beautiful thing that you did that. And then what people don't also realize, like with therapy, it's never an instant fix. Like there's so much shit that you got to do afterwards. I know for me, like I got lucky that I found a free therapy source. And for I mentioned this before plenty of times on the podcast, but for anyone who is listening who is new to this, the company is called Change Your Algorithm, and they offer free therapy classes, all taught by therapists, all done over Zoom. And what it is that they cover a topic, they give you tools to help you with your problems. You can be completely anonymous if you want. You can ask questions if you want. You can share if you want. And for me, who's broke as a joke, that was my therapy option, and it's helped me immensely. And it's like, it's not just you're going to these classes or you're seeing a therapist. Like you also have to, like, outside of that, put in the work. I always kind of equate it to like if you're going to the gym and you have a personal trainer, right? That trainer can put you through a great workout, but if you're not doing anything outside of those training sessions, you're not going to see any results,
Right.
or any kind of results that are going to come like super slowly.
Right. Exactly. It's like you can't go to the gym and still eat like shit and expect results.
100%. That was kind of like, I remember I used to be a personal trainer and I had clients, and like I loved them. But they were all great, wonderful people, but they would come at me and be like, "Why am I not losing weight?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, what's your diet looking like?" And they're like, "Oh, well, we just went to this Italian restaurant last night, and then this weekend we have a barbecue that we're going to, and we're doing this, that, and the other." And I'm like, "Okay, so this is my fault." Like I was like, let's turn this mirror around real quick and let's just have a look at like what's going on. Um, so yeah, yeah, it's definitely one of those things where you gotta like just keep putting in the work. And I think like and I'll ask this for you because this was really hard for me. For me, with like the learning to heal and like love myself, the hardest part was learning to be kind to myself. Have you had that kind of struggle too?
I'm not kind to myself. That's the thing. I think, and I've tried saying this online so many times. People see me, they only see what I want to show them.
Yeah.
Um, People may not know or understand, like, I don't like myself and I'm not kind to myself. And I I was actually crying the other night to Michael, and I said to him, I wish I could see myself the way that you see me. And I can't. because I would probably love myself if I could see me the way that you see me.
Have you ever thought of like maybe it's not about how others are seeing you, but you need it's just changing the slight perspective of how you see you? Because I know for me, I definitely get into those moments and those headspaces of like I'm a piece of shit. No one's ever gonna love me. Like fuck this. Like I suck. I'm not doing that. But if I were to say that to you about me, like if I went Jordan, I fucking like suck. Like I don't think I'm a good person. I think people would like just really fucking hate me or whatever. Would you ever say like, well, yeah, Anjay, you do suck. Like you're the fucking worst. Like you shouldn't even be here anymore. Like would you like so for me, like the aha like click moment for me, and especially helped me for this is just me, my journey. I'm not trying to like say like do this. Um was like when I would journal, I would realize that when as I was writing these thoughts out, these negative thoughts out, it kind of turned into me having a conversation with myself. And I started to respond to myself as if someone was saying that to me about themselves. Does that make sense?
That
So, so like if you're saying like if you, Jordan, were like, Anjay, I I'm a piece of shit. I fucking hate myself. The first thing I would do is like come through there and slap you across the face and be like, bitch, no. No, you're a fucking badass. You're amazing. You have such a kind heart and people absolutely love and adore you, and it's easy for me to say that to you, but for me it's been working on trying to have me say that to me.
so I've talked to my therapist about this in depth, and we've realized a lot of it is a lot of the self I don't like myself comes from my perception of me physically,
Mm-hmm.
my physique, the body dysmorphia, the that's where a lot of it comes from. And if you ask people on the internet, God forbid you ever
Oh God.
say this, ever say like, I think I should lose weight. I think I would be like look better and feel better if I lose weight. Can't say that because then you're fat phobic. You have internalized fat phobia that you need to work through. Instead of
Yeah,
it just being,
no.
I know that I feel my best and I feel my healthiest and I feel my most attractive at 160 pounds versus 260 pounds, which is where I'm sitting now. I don't look it, but that's where I'm sitting. I feel better, look better, and like myself better when I'm around this weight. I'm healthier around this weight. You're fat phobic. And that's like one issue that I haven't touched on because the one time I did, oh Lord, oh Lord, people got so mad.
Yeah, I think people who are saying that, I think, and this is just my gut reaction, so I I will always admit that I can be wrong. I think my gut reaction to that is it's a thing with them. So they're projecting that onto you, going like, "Well, I'm accepting of my body and how big and and for me, I don't care how big or small anybody is as long as they're happy and they're feeling healthy and all that stuff. Fucking do you." But if someone like you goes, "No, I want to lose some weight. I just want to get in better shape. I want to physically feel better." And with that usually comes you feel like you physically look better. Fucking do you. I mean, I struggled, I think it all comes down to your why and like the reason why you want to do it. I remember when I used to weigh over 400 pounds, I cut weight and I did it, looking back at it, I did it because I thought if I was skinny, people will like me.
Right.
And I got down all the way down to like 223 pounds. I was a stick. And then I probably added, I don't know, like 10 to 15 pounds of muscle, had six pack abs, all that shit. I thought I wasn't lean enough. I thought I still wasn't good enough. And I felt like nobody was still going to like me because I wasn't looking like the people on Instagram or I wasn't looking like this, that, or the other. Right. And, when I took care of my mom and everything like that, I gained a shit ton of that weight back. After she died, I still gained a lot of the weight back. I'm probably sitting over 350, maybe close to 360 right now. I don't look it, but that's
Mm-mm.
because you know, for how strong I am in the gym and all that stuff, like my body carries my weight a lot differently and it looks a lot differently proportioned and all that type of stuff. So like even though I'm not at my like heaviest as I was, I'm still like skinnier at this weight than I was last time I was at this weight, if that makes sense. So for like for you, if that's something like you're wanting to do for your own self and if you're doing it just for you, cool. But I think when a lot of people hear like I want to do this so I can think I can look more attractive and blah 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 blah, and I think maybe to other people it sounds like, oh no, you're doing it because you want to fit in with society, when from what I'm gathering from you is no, I'm just wanting to do this for myself so I can feel better.
I want to feel hot. I mean, there is a large correlation between weight and mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I don't feel confident. I don't feel hot. And just going back to you saying like, oh, I want people to like me. Bitch, people already like me. You know,
Yeah.
like I I know for a fact people like me. If people didn't like me, I wouldn't have the platform I did. So this has nothing to do with like fitting into societal norms or people liking me or people accepting me. People are accepting me at the heaviest I've ever been. I just I want to feel confident in myself, and sitting at the weight that I'm at now, I don't. And it fucks with my head. It fucks with
Mm-hmm.
my depression and my anxiety. I like there are days that I don't want to leave the house because of how I feel like I look like, and people don't get that. It's like you said, they just hear, "Oh, well, you think skinny is equivalent to pretty." No, I didn't say that I was ugly. I said that I was fat.
I love that you're like I, you're twisting my words. You're taking what I'm saying and you're twisting it to like how you want it to be perceived, when you're like, no, I literally want to feel a certain way and I want to look a certain way and I'm going to work towards doing that. I love it. Like I support you. Like do you, boo. Like fucking
I'm not putting thousands of dollars into my tattoo sleeves to not be hot in my like hot in my mind.
yeah.
Why would I put thousands of dollars into my tattoos if I never want to wear a sleeveless shirt because I think my arms are too big? Hello. I think this is an easy fix here. Go to the gym and eat better.
That's usually and honestly, whenever people ask me when they go like, "What is your secret to losing weight?" I stopped eating shitty. And granted, for me, I ended up under eating a lot, and I actually had uh, an eating disorder kind of developed because I was always in that mindset of like, well, I'm gonna go out later. I better work out 4 times as hard. Or I ate a slice of pizza yesterday, or I had like a piece of cake. I better, instead of being at the gym for 2 hours, I better be there for four. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it was just like it was bad, and I had no idea because I was like, oh, the weight's coming off, and then I was like letting the scale dictate my mood. That's why I was like, I don't really know what I weigh anymore, because as soon as the batteries kind of died in my scale, I went, man, I shouldn't be doing this anymore. Because the last time I weighed myself, I got really depressed. I felt
Yeah.
really shitty about myself, and it's kind of like it really fucked with my head. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be doing this anymore. And I talked to other people in the gym and they're like, bro, you look great. Like fucking yeah, don't do that. Don't, you're fucking strong as fuck here. Like, nah, don't do that shit. And I was like, all right, bet. Like if I weigh myself eventually, yeah, cool, sure. But I'm trying to just kind of gauge of like, how are my clothes feeling? And you know, I kind of use like the mirror kind of as my gauge. And there, I honestly, I have days where I'm like, fuck, I feel really fat today, or like I feel I don't look my best. I mean, even like today and right now, like I have lights on because the way that the sun kind of comes down in my living room, it changes shade all the time. And right now I look really white and pasty. But but I was like looking at my phone earlier and I turned the camera on and I looked at myself and I was like, oh, mm, today's not your day, bro. Like
It,
today's not a you don't look that great today, my guy. And I kind of had to like catch myself in those moments with that thought and be like, all right, it's always tomorrow, I guess. Like,
yep.
not really going anywhere.
I mean, you see how I am when I make TikTok videos. 90% of the 99% of the time, I have no makeup on. My hair is messier than this. I like I look like a troll. I I stopped caring. I stopped caring what I looked like on TikTok because I'm not a makeup artist, I'm not a model, I'm not a dancer. So what you see is like when you see me looking like a troll, that is me because I work from home. Like I just put in like $500 worth of clothing into my Amazon cart. Super excited to get it, but like where am I going to wear it to? Nowhere. I don't go out. I work from home. I work in PJs.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
No, but I hear what you're saying, and but honestly, like that's what I was saying earlier about like how like you are literally being like authentically yourself, like kind of I can't think of the right word for this, but like you literally are the title of this podcast. Here I am. Like here I am. Like this is me, and I think it's a beautiful thing because like we live in a world where people do put on like this facade of who they think that other people might want to be, and a lot of people build like internet fame based off of that because they're not really being themselves, they're being what's going to get them results, like what's going to get them traction, what's going to get them views. And um I know for me, like I've had stuff, where I go, oh wow, I think this was like really profound, I'm actually really proud of it, and gets like no fucking traction. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to change who I am to be like, well, I think this is what people would want. If I think of something, like I try to be like you, where I'm like, I'm just going to be me. If I think of something cool that I like and I think is good, then I'm going to do that thing.
Yeah. Exactly. Like my follower count is going down every single day and I just don't care because if this people forget that if Instagram or TikTok or somewhere that you have all these followers and all these people watching you, if they were gone tomorrow, 99% of us would just go back to being normal fucking humans.
No, that's
Like
very true.
my 1.5 million followers, like I love every single one of them. I'm so glad to have them. But how many of them would care if TikTok was gone? I would go back to just being a normal person. People wouldn't recognize me. People wouldn't know who I am. I would just be a normal person.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I also think I have other friends who are also like losing followers, and they're worrying about it, and what I've kind of discovered or realized with it is they come and go. So for me, it's like it's cyclical. You go through a period where your views are up, you're getting a lot of new following and everything like that, and then it kind of tanks, your views go down, your following gets less, you get more people unfollow you, and then all of a sudden randomly another thing hits,
Mm-hmm.
and boom, the following starts coming back. And that's what I've discovered. I mean, I posted something random and I was losing, I think I lost like maybe 3,000 followers or some shit like that. And I was like, all right, well, I still have like a lot of followers, whatever, it's all good. And then a video hit, and then I gained like 6,000 followers from that. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of going like, oh, like, okay, there's no point in me stressing about this.
No,
Like,
TikTok used to fuck with my mental health so bad when the views were down and, you know, people weren't interacting and stuff wasn't going well. Like, it would actually mess with my head. And, like, I just woke up one day and it was like a light bulb. And I was like, who fucking cares? This isn't your full time job. You started doing it for fun and to make friends and connect with people. Why do you care so much?
yeah. And I think even if like, you know, I think if people are even like they're wanting to make it a thing, you have to understand you have to think bigger picture versus like what is currently happening in the present. So if something's like not going well, like your views are down or whatever, it's kind of like, okay, well, something is happening, and then for all you know, something else, you'll try something that, again, for me, I'm big on like if it's authentic to yourself or this is something that you thought of and you really like, you're proud of, yeah, fucking do it. And then something might hit and you go, oh, okay, maybe I should start going down like this path a little bit and see where this goes. um i i i, I just don't like the, oh, I lost like this many followers today and now my whole thing's ruined, like I'm never I'm never going to grow anymore. It's like, hold on, it's just a day. It's
It's
all good. You never
you'll be
know. Yeah, like, and even if it lasts for like a couple of weeks, it's just kind of like, you can kind of equate it to depression, right?
mhm.
Where, you know, when shit's going bad, it's all you think of is like, fuck, like this is never going to get better.
Yep.
And the reality is, it kind of always does.
Yeah.
If you just keep going, and going back to where you were in the place that you were, I was also in. I've been in your state of mind many a times. Like at that point of like, fuck, I just want to do it. And then the one time I did ever mention it to my parents, it was not well received, and there was no real help. Like my mom was like, "Oh no," my dad was like, "Why?" And that's why when you told me that your mom said that your dad fucking printed out all this shit so he can try to understand. I got I got choked up a little bit because I was like, fuck, my dad would never like because my dad just went, why? Because my dad
Yeah.
like, what the fuck do you have to be sad and depressed about? Like, what the fuck? And then it turned into like, as I'm going through like therapy, it turned into like, well, my mother was a drug user and she used throughout pregnancy and shit like that affects the kid.
Mhm.
And with like I don't do you know anything about the vagus nerve? I learned
No.
this randomly in a therapy class, and it just blew my mind because it let me know that, oh my god, this isn't something that um is my fault or any way. I was born like this. So our vagus nerve kind of helps like set. It's like the biggest nerve in our body, and it kind of helps like set like our mood and our tones, and that's through like called what's called vagal tones, right? And
Okay.
usually when you're like depressed, you have low vagal tones. And that's something that you can be born with, and it can be affected with a child in pregnancy. So drug use, depression, anxiety, stress, things like that, that can get transferred into the baby. And so when the baby is born, they're already kind of born of like low vagal tones. And like that's how like depression and shit like that kind of like develops for a child. And that's why like kids can be like, oh, I've been depressed for like my whole life, or I've been battling these kind of thoughts for like my whole life. And when I learned that, like, so since my birth mother did drugs like during the pregnancy, I was like, oh, so she clearly had something going on. She was an addict and had shit going on. And then it made me go, oh, fuck. Like, I was born this way. It wasn't anything that I ever did wrong as a kid or anything like that. It goes like beyond whatever traumas I had growing up. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Like you were literally born that way.
Yeah. And now I really resonate with Lady Gaga now. So um and so like yeah, it's just kind of developed like a bunch of different stuff. Another route I want to go with you, and I've been kind of on like this kick lately because I just kind of find it fascinating. I know in your past you've been in some pretty rough relationships,
Hmm.
and right now you are in a very beautiful relationship with Michael. So
Hmm.
if you guys heard her mention it before, that's her current boyfriend. Um, what allowed you to go from being with narcissists in the past to lead you to like change whatever patterns you were following to keep getting in those kinds of relationships to allowing yourself to trust again to allow this new person in?
I mean, I was single for 2 years. Um, it was a lot of self work. It was a lot of that therapy, getting on the right medication, being in the right headspace. Honestly, I think is what kickstarted the whole let's try dating again. Because I mean, you've seen my dating horror stories with the bad dates and the assholes and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna sound really cliche. Michael just kind of fell into my lap.
Mm.
He, I saw him. We actually knew each other in high school
Oh wow.
through a mutual friend. We knew each other when we were in high school, and he was married to the girl that I knew. in high school. And so I'm swiping on Bumble and I see him and I'm like, damn, he looks really familiar. So I swiped right and turns out it was who I was thinking it was. And he just kind of fell into my lap. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. He was, they say when you're least expecting it, you'll get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's how it was, to be completely honest. I wasn't expecting him to be anything. I thought we were going to hang out, have a good time, and I'd never hear from him again because that's what I was used to. And then
Yeah.
he kept coming back. And I was like, all right, like, you find a stray cat and they keep coming back because you're feeding them. And you're like, I'm going to adopt you and bring you into my home and love you now. And that Michael is my stray cat and I am his stray cat. We just kind of kept coming back to each other. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to adopt you. I like you. I don't know how else to explain it.
So was there like, so when you started going back into like the dating world and everything like that, like what kind of walls and boundaries were you setting for yourself when doing
Because I
that?
didn't, when I got back into the dating world, when I first got back in, I had no boundaries. I kind of just I was living pretty carelessly. I'm surprised that I was not murdered or ended
Hmm.
up on Netflix documentary.
So was that like one of those like, oh, you think I'm cute? Yeah, let's date. Let's go out. Let's do this right now.
It was more, oh, you think that I'm attractive? I think you're attractive. Let's go get drunk and come back to my place. I will let you know where I live and let's sleep together and then probably never speak again.
Gotcha.
I mean, and then I started talking to Megan about it. Megan's my therapist. If anyone didn't know, and she's fucking awesome. She was like, yeah, this is pretty reckless behavior. And it kind of took her taking on a motherly tone with me and being like, not good behavior for me to be like, shit, yeah, you're right. You're, yeah, this is bad.
Yeah, sometimes it does take that like that outside source to kind of like point it out to you and have you go, yeah. So what kind of changes were you making from that like aha moment that you had?
Kind of realizing, people always say, what do you bring to the table? And I realized I am the table. I am the side courses and the desserts.
Love it.
What are you to complement my meal? I am 29 years old. I own a house. I own my car. I have a great dog. I have good friends. I have a great relationship with all of my family. Like, I am successful in what I'm doing. What are you doing? And once I started saying, like, this is what I have, and I'm doing perfectly fine without needing anyone, and realizing I wanted someone as a companion and a complement to my life, I think that's when things changed.
Yeah, you know what? That's really interesting that you say that because I know for me, like earlier in like my dating life, I didn't really start dating until I got skinny. And then even then, I was like not used to the fact that people thought I was attractive. And even to this day, I struggle with it a little bit. And it took me a long time to come to that, like, yeah, I am the table. I know what I fucking bring. You don't need to question me on what I'm bringing. Like, this is what I have. This is what I am. Do you accept it? Yeah, cool. What do you got? Like, because
Right.
and it's having that confidence. And for me, it turned into like when I was younger, it was I had to date because I had to fit like this picture of like, well, if I'm with somebody, then I won't be depressed anymore. Or if I'm with somebody, I won't be dealing with this, that, or the other. If I'm with somebody, we can do this. Now I'm like, I don't need I don't need to be in a relationship. I
Yep.
don't. I'm pretty cool. Like, do I get lonely sometimes? Sure. Would it be nice to have someone here? Of course. Why not? I would love that. I want to do life with somebody. I want to have like a partner and do this thing together.
Yep.
But I also know that I don't need I don't need it. I don't need
Right.
it. Like I got good friends. Um, you know, and I consider, my following my friends too. Like they give me like the biggest support that I've never had, and it's amazing. And I'm so incredibly humbled and grateful for them all. Um, I got a house that I own. I got a car that I own, even though it's beat up. And like, I can go like, well, I have a house, but I have to make repairs on this, that, and the other that I don't have the money for right now. I may not be as financially successful, but I'm able to pay my bills. Um, and so like I could be like, I can get down on myself. I can point out all the negatives and shit like that, but I'm like, bottom line, I have a house. I'm a great guy. I have a great personality. I'm funny as fuck. I'm strong as fuck. Uh, I'm emotionally intelligent as fuck. I like to
Yeah.
say the word fuck. Fuck yeah. Uh, but and so like I'm like I always felt like I had to prove something to somebody. I had to be someone that I wasn't. I had to be who I thought they would want me to be. Like whoever I was dating, I had to be who I thought they wanted me to be. And that ended up being like my downfall because it leads me to going like, I'm not good enough. So I have to be this version of myself for them to even like me. And that never lasts forever type of thing. And then I also never felt like I could communicate or like talk about my feelings or say like how stressed I am because it turned into like, oh well, you're a man, bro. Like you're not supposed to deal with that shit. You're not supposed to talk about your feelings. You're not supposed to do anything like that. And now I'm at a place where I'm like, nah, I'm gonna be me. Like this is how I'm naturally gonna treat you, and it's gonna be great. Like I'm gonna treat you great, but I'm not gonna be like I'm not gonna be someone who I'm not. Like
Right.
I'm not gonna pretend that like if you like something and I don't like it, I'm not gonna pretend to like it just so you can still keep talking to me. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that type of thing. And so yeah, it's a huge. I think when people get to that mindset is kind of when things are allowed to change. And there are some people who have kind of always had that mindset. Like they know who they are and that's great for them. And I know a lot of people who struggle with like they struggle with being single and they always feel like when things kind of I don't know if you dealt with this, but I went through this with a long time where if I got rejected or like things didn't work out, I always kind of thought like it was a me thing.
Oh yeah.
And I've learned to kind of be like, nah, it's not me, or it's not like necessarily a me. And I hope this doesn't sound toxic, but like it's not necessarily a me thing. It's a we didn't fit thing.
Well, I was gonna say, even if it, I mean, there have been times where self-reflecting, I've been like, okay, yeah, no, it was a me thing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that me thing was bad. It's like you said, you just don't fit. It can
Yeah,
totally be a me thing, like something that I do, like they may not like, but I'm not going to change myself for that. We just weren't a good fit because that is a me thing. That's something that makes me myself. I say
yeah,
another fucking word. I swear like a sailor. I can drink like a frat bro. And some people, there have been people that I've dated that have been like, too much, too much. And so that was a me thing, but I'm not changing that because that is part of my personality. That's part of who I am.
yeah. It could be like a too much for them, but a perfect enough for someone else.
And you know what they say? If I'm too much, go find less.
Go find fucking less. I agree wholeheartedly. I know for me, I have like a bit of like an anxious attachment style type of
Mm-hmm.
thing. I do need affirmations. I do like communicating. I do like to be talked with. And like while I've worked, I'm more closer to like a secured attachment where I could be very accepting of like certain things and be like super understanding. There's a point where I'm like, okay, this is what I need. And I've been told it's too much and they can't provide it. And I go, okay, cool. No worries. Like if you can't provide that, then cool. Then I'm going to step away from this right now then because I don't want to feel like I'm investing so much into something that I'm not going to get that kind of same energy back. Because I'm one of those people where like if I'm in, I'm fucking in. Like
Yep.
I'm in. Here I am. Like let's go. Like I'm not afraid of commitment. I'm not afraid of doing like that. I ain't gonna like swindle you around and fuck with your head like that. I'll be honest. And I'm like, if I say I like you, I fucking like you. Like let's let's if I say I want to get to know you, I really want to fucking get to know you. Um, but a lot of times it's I guess it's weird. If you're going by like cliches, it's weird where I'm like, no, I really want to talk. Like I can be that person to talk all day, every day if you want. If you're busy, cool. I understand it. Just let me know you're busy. And I'll be like, all right, cool. Otherwise, I get into the headspace of like, fuck, what did I say? What did I do wrong? I
Yep.
haven't heard back from them in a long time. I must have fucked up. Like I was talking with somebody who has like a very like hardcore fight or flight mode
Yeah.
where like they can be like, we can be talking, everything's going great, and then all of a sudden they're gone and they disappear. And when they did open up to me about like their past and shit like that, I always went, "Oh, okay, I get it. Like you
Hmm.
had some really shitty past relationships. I'm a guy. I have a penis. It's very like can't trust that. I get it. I get it." So I never. So we've talked like off and on here and there, and she always goes like, "I'm so sorry I keep doing that or whatever." And it's like, look, I'm not mad. I just you. I'm not gonna be. I can't be with you if you're gonna do that. Like
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of person. Um, you cut out a little bit. Can you repeat it one more time?
You deserve consistency.
100%, yeah. And yeah, 100%. And so like when like that type of shit happens, and like if we start talking, I like sometimes I'll just like check in just because like I care, even though like I probably really shouldn't. I should like really just kind of let that shit go. But this is just kind of the guy I am. And I was just like, hey, like what's going on? And she'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going through this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, cool. uh I don't want to. I'm just coming at you from like a friend position. I don't really want to do anything more than this because like I know it ain't going to be good for me. But just know that like your feelings are valid. You can reach out to somebody. Like you can reach out. You can talk to me if you need it. I'm a safe space. But I also totally get if you don't want to do that type of shit. Um, but the whole thing is going back to it. I think when it comes to dating, it's about knowing who the fuck you are and that you are amazing as you are. And if
Right.
you aren't in that place, a relationship isn't going to benefit.
You A relationship is a partnership. It's not morphing into one. It's being complementary parts to one another.
100%.
Like puzzle pieces. Like apart, they're still puzzle pieces and they serve their own purpose. But together they make something better.
Yeah. It's not I'm in a relationship. This defines me. I mean, I've talked to people where like relationships defined them and it was like if I'm not in a relationship, then I'm failing. And then it's like, no, it's not it at all.
A lot of people, and I think we're starting to get away from these societal norms, but a lot of people put so much pressure on themselves to be in a relationship because you can't be successful. Like in their mind, you can't be successful unless you have a significant other and you have a family and you have this and that. And so people, I think, equate being in a relationship to being some type of successful. And in their mind, it's like you said, it defines them. And that's so scary because you could end up with the worst human being and then you won't leave because it's like, oh, well, if I get a divorce, I'm a failure. If I'm not in a relationship, I'm a failure and I can't be a failure. Oh my gosh, that's terrifying to think of.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that pressure kind of stems from, I remember growing up and it was like if you're not married with a house, kids, and a good job by 30, you
Yeah.
failed. You failed. And I definitely I know for me, I definitely fell into those norms. And but when my mom got sick and I had to take care of her, I lost like my 20s essentially. She
Hmm.
died when I turned 30. Um, and then it took me years to recover from that trauma. That's where my PTSD comes from, and I still battle it and everything like that. And I'm still trying to figure it out. And I had to like realize I'm still fucking young. Like
Yeah.
I don't and it's hard to break that norm. And then like I can talk to people who are in their 20s and they're stressing out so much about shit. And I'm like, you have time. You do have time. Like it's okay that you're putting some like you're setting expectations and standards for yourself, but you don't have to have it right this second, right by tomorrow. And if you keep pushing that, if you keep thinking, I don't have this, I'm failing, you're never going to succeed.
As a woman, You know what sucks? I believe it's age 32 is considered a high risk pregnancy. 35 and above is considered a geriatric pregnancy. So it's
My
ultra high.
God.
So like, you know, as a woman, I love my grandma, but no, every single time I see her. So when are you and Michael getting married? When are you and Michael having kids? It's like, grandma, we've been dating for 6 months. Pump your fucking.
Yeah.
Gee,
When was your grandmother born?
oh, I don't know. She's an old bitch.
An old bitch. All right. Well, I know like there was like I remember seeing like this thing where oh, I remember this right. So there's this book called Attached. And I started reading it. And it's um it's a book talking about like attachment styles and stuff like that. And so you learn about the anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, and the secure attachment styles. And they were talking about how like, you know, in the in the like early 1900s, it was, like, hey, if your kid's crying, you let them figure that shit out for themselves or whatever. And like you gotta make them tough. And then it wasn't until like more recently where like even like the 70s that it's kind of like, oh, wait, that might be kind of wrong. And it's kind of been trying to like correct it since then. And but like that's how like that parenting came up. So like it turns into like, well, okay, you better have a wife, you better have kids, you better do this, that, and the other. And so you got to get like the house so you can retire, so you can grow old and complain about whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's what she's wanting for you. She's just going like, girl, this is what I learned. This is how I've lived my whole life. You need to do this too. You need to get on this now, not
Grandma,
realizing that it's your life. You do what you want. You're making the best out of it in your own way.
grandma's not allowed to say shit. She is a hardcore Christian, and she had my Aunt Candy out of wedlock. So she's not allowed to say shit to me. Like, you had a shotgun wedding.
Was it really shotguns though? That'd be amazing.
Probably. Probably. She was born a bastard. So boom.
Is that where your love of Game of Thrones came in? Like my
Maybe.
family's full of bastards.
My family full of bastards, whether it's legitimate bastards or I just call them bastards.
Well, I remember so my mom's adopted. My mom was adopted, and that was kind of like one of like our bonding things because like I'm adopted, and when she told me that she was also adopted, I kind of went like, oh, so I can talk to you about this like specific thing. But I mentioned this before on the podcast, but I'm gonna say this again because the story always cracks me up. So my mom was adopted not through an agency, but through a hair salon.
Okay.
Sorry. So so her birth mother, this was during the war, World War II. Um, her birth mother, her husband, was off fighting the war. His brother couldn't go fight. He had like a medical condition that he wasn't allowed to fight, right? He ends up sleeping with her. And she gets pregnant,
Okay.
and she's like, so like one day she's in the hair salon, and she's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. Like I'm pregnant. I don't like I clearly it's not my husband's baby or whatever. Like I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. And so my grandma was in there, and she goes, I'll take the kid. And that's how my mom got adopted.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it.
That's definitely one way to do it. And I asked my mom, I was like, Mom, did you ever try to like get in like contact with your birth parents? And she goes, yeah, I called them I got a hold of their number and I called them. uh Her birth mother's husband answered the phone,
Oh.
and my mom didn't go like, hi, I'm like your brother's illegitimate child or whatever. And I was like, did he know? And did they have any idea who you were? And he's like, I don't think so, because she was literally just wanting to like talk to her birth mom, and she wasn't home at the time. And but she was like, I think he had a hunch. And
Oops.
I was like, did you try like contacting them after that? And she's like, no, that was the only time I did it. And I was like, all right, bet. But I remember when she told me that story, I cracked up because I was like, getting adopted in a hair salon. That that's as unique of a story as you can ever possibly get.
That's one way to do it.
That's definitely one way to do it. Um, Jordan, I have to say, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know you have a show that you really want to watch on Netflix.
Lock and key.
Um, hell yeah, there you go. Uh, but I want to first of all say thank you so much for coming on here and having this chat with me. I seriously appreciate you so much for doing it. The way I like to end these episodes is I asked this one question. So I'm a big proponent of counting our victories for the day. Yeah,
Okay.
no matter how big or how small they are, I think it's important for us to count whatever kind of victory that we have so we don't have to feel like our day was like a complete waste, especially if you're in like a bad headspace. So Jordan, my question to you is what is a victory you had today?
I cooked dinner.
Fuck yeah.
I cooked dinner instead of getting takeout.
Fuck yeah. I bet your wallet's probably happy about that too.
With a negative $600 bank account right now. So
Ooh.
yeah.
I
Whoopsies.
no, but that's awesome. I know I struggled with even like with cooking sometimes. Like I just go like I know I have the food. I know I can do it.
Yep.
But I've been driving in my car for like 6 straight hours. I really don't feel like putting in that kind of energy and effort. And I know a lot of people struggle with that. That's amazing. My victory for the day was I allowed myself to slow down.
Nice.
Yeah, I woke up today and I was like, yes, you have cleaning to do, laundry to do, yard work, this, that, and the other, but it's your only day off. Breathe a little bit, just relax. And I had therapy today and I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to chill for a little bit. Maybe I'll do my yard work before therapy. And then before I knew it, I was like, oh, it's going to start in like 30 minutes. Fuck it. I'm going to chill. I wasn't beating myself up about like procrastinating it. I'm like, I'll get it done. I'm just allowing myself the space to relax and chill. And that is very rare for me because a lot of times I'm just like, why the fuck aren't you doing this thing? Why aren't you doing it? Why aren't you doing it? Come on, get on it. You're a lazy piece of shit. Like fucking. And I was just like, it's kind of like a weird thing. And like, and a victory that I kind of really want to like share this. And I hope this is like a good message for people to hear. Another random victory I had recently was I was going through like things that I'm grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that just came to mind was I'm grateful for myself and grateful for surviving all the things that I have been through and grateful for that no matter how shitty of a headspace I can get into, I still find a way to keep going and keep showing up the next day.
Proud of you.
Uh, well, I'm proud. I'm seriously proud of you, and I am very grateful for you. See how that tied in together? Nailed it. There was that awkward. I mean, I was trying to make that a little bit awkward, but hopefully that worked.
You dig it?
All right. Um, and I am grateful for all of you who are watching or listening to this lovely podcast. I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead of you. And please remember to be kind to yourselves. Be good.